सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अखण्डं सच्चिदानन्दम् अवाङ्मनसगोचरम् आत्मानमखिलाधारम् आश्रयेऽभीष्टसिद्धये अर्थतोऽप्यद्वयानन्दान् अतीतद्वैतभानतः गुरूणाराध्य वेदान्त सारं वक्ष्ये यथामति। So, Karan, what is the summary of last class?
In the last class, we started from Mumukshutvam, that is khanda number 25. Mumukshutvam is equal to mokshescha, mokshasya ichha, the desire for getting freedom. And here we make one slight difference between Mumukshutvam and mokshescha. Mumukshutvam refers to the entire person. The personality is changed, whereas mokshescha can mean one of the desires among many desires. Then in the 26th khanda, the Vedanta Sarakara gives the pramana for this sadhan chatushtaya sampatti.
No, he gives the pramanam for
Adhikari.
First he concludes the Adhikari topic and gives pramanam.
एवं भूतः प्रमाता अधिकारी शांतो दान्तः इत्यादि श्रुतेः. The adhikari is the knower who has got such qualities such as shantah dantah.
No, such as mentioned earlier.
Yes.
So evam bhuta doesn't refer to shanta danta.
Yes. Such
as mentioned earlier.
And what is the pramanam for this? Ityadi shruteः. शांतो दांतो उपरति स्थितिक्षा उपरत स्थितिक्षा
तितिक्षु शांतः is referring the person.
शांतः दांतः उपरत स्थितिक्षुः समाहितः मुमुक्षुः सन्
भूत्वा
आत्मनि आत्मानं पश्यति. So the person who is now Shantah, Dantah, is who is Shama, who is Damaha, who has got Uparati, who has got Titiksha, who has got Samadhanam and Mumukshutva. Such person sees the self in the mind. Yes, is able to appreciate the self in the mind. And then from Upadesh Shastri also, the Pramanam is given. Prashanta Chittaya Jitendriyaya cha प्रहीन दोषाय यथोक्तकारिणे गुणान्वितायानुगताय सर्वदा प्रदेयमेतत् सततं मुमुक्षवे. एतत् प्रदेयम, this teaching should be given to whom? To prashanta chittaya, to the person whose mind has become calm. Jitendriyaya cha, who has got mastery over his organs. Prahina doshaya, whose defects have been removed. Defects in the sense of papam.
Ragadveshas.
Yathokta karine, who is doing as per the teaching of the scriptures. Gunanvitaya, who is endowed with gunas, the qualities, such as anudvegakaram.
Amanitvam. All of a sudden anudvegakaram. Amanitvam or abhayam sattva samshaya.
Then anugataya sarvada, who is always ready to follow the teacher, mentally follow the teacher. And who is mumukshu, who is desirous of freedom.
In fact, we can do anvaya like this. Etat mumukshave satatam pradayam. And mumukshu is qualified by different words. But this also okay.
Then in the next khanda, the Vishaya is given. Vishayaha Jiva Brahmaikyam Shuddha Chaitanyam Prameyam Tatra Eva Vedantanam Tatparyat. So what is the Vishaya? Jiva Brahmaikyam. The oneness between Jiva and Brahma. And there could be a doubt that this kind of oneness can be a merger. Jiva merging into Brahma. For that the answer is given in the next word. Shuddha Chaitanyam. Pure consciousness means the homogeneous consciousness which is called Jiva and which is called Ishvara based on the Upadhi difference. And then there could be a doubt that this consciousness is Swaprakasha. If it is Swaprakasha, then why should somebody else teach me? Because it is already known, and Shastra is the pramanam for something which is anadhigata, means something which is not known by any other pramana. For that the answer is given prameyam, that which should be understood. So here you have to understand that consciousness or pure consciousness is something which is understood as I am, but not understood as I am limitless. So there is understanding, but not the correct understanding, and so it is to be understood. And why this is the Vishaya? Tatra eva Vedantanam Tatparyat. Because the purport of all the Vedant Vakyas is in Jiva Brahma Aikyam only. Then in the next khanda, the Sambandha is given. Tadaikya Prameyasya Tatpratipadokopanishad Pramanasya cha Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha. So what is the connection? The connection is Bodhya Bodhaka Bhavaha, means in the form of the revealed and the revealer. Between whom and whom? Tadaikya Prameyasya. The revealed is the one which is Aikyam, the oneness between Jiva and Ishvara, which is to be known. And what is the other entity in the relationship? Tat Pratipadakopanishad Pramanasya. The Upanishad, the text Upanishad, which is revealing this Jiva Brahma Aikyam and which is the Pramanam. So thus here three things of Anubandha Chatushtaya of Vedanta has been discussed until now. Adhikari, Vishaya and Sambandha.
So before we proceed, in the definition of Vairagyam, ऐहिकानां स्रक्चन्दनमनितादि विषयभोगानां कर्मजन्यतया अनित्यत्ववत् आमुष्मिकाणामपि अमृतादि विषयभोगानाम् अनित्यतया तेभ्यः नितरां विरतिः या मुत्रार्थफलभोगविरागः. Here the main sentence is ऐहिकानां भोगानां अनित्यत्ववत् आमुष्मिकाणामपि भोगानाम् अनित्यतया तेभ्यः विरतिः is called iha mutrartha bhoga viragaha. So vairagyam is the virati, dispassion. Nitaram, completely, tebhyaha, from them. And from them means what? From the objects of this world or the bhoga of this world and the bhoga of the other worlds. And why there should be vairagyam? Anityatvat. So anityataya, because of impermanence. Because of impermanence of what? Amrutadi Vishaya Bhoganam. Because of impermanence of the bhogas, which are bhogas, the enjoyments of the objects such as amrutadi, nectar, etc., which are amushmikanam api, even of the other worlds, the bhoga of the objects of other worlds, And this anityataya, which is given as reason, because of impermanence of the enjoyments of the object, such as nectar, etc., even of the other world. Anityatpavat, like the impermanence of the Vishaya Bhoga, the impermanence of the enjoyment of the objects, Srak Chandana Vanita, the garland, etc. And why Anityatvam is that? Karma Janyataya. So, like the impermanence on being born of karma on the part of the enjoyments of the objects such as garland, etc., which are ehikanam, which belong to this world. So here what is said is that virati, dispassion, is because of this anityata, anityataya. Anityata of what? The amushmika bhoga. And this anityata of the amushmika bhoga is similar to the impermanence of anityata of the ehika bhoga. So ehika bhoga anityatvam is taken as an example for the anityatvam of amushmika bhoga, the enjoyment of the other world. So like the impermanence of the ehika bhoga, there is impermanence of the amushmika bhoga, and thereby taya hetu tritiya anitya taya viratihi, dispassion from them because of the impermanence of the enjoyments of the other world, like the impermanence of the enjoyments in this world. That is the idea conveyed. So anityatva vat and anityataya should be connected. And there is anityatvad reading also is there. Karmajanyataya anityatvad, and then amushmikanam api anityataya. Both will have same idea. Alright. Now we go to the next Anubandha Prayojanam. Prayojanam tu tadaikya prameya gata jnana nivrittihi swaswarupanandavaptihi cha tarati shokam atmavit ityadi shrutehe ब्रह्मविद ब्रह्मैव भवति इत्यादि श्रुतेः च The reading should be Brahmaveda Brahmaiva Bhavati. That is the reading. So here also they have given Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. Modified. They have given Mundaka Upanishad modified. It should be Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati. But idea is the same. Alright. Prayojanam tu, whereas the benefit is benefit of studying Vedanta or getting the knowledge given by Vedanta is tad aikya prameya gata ajnana nivrittihi. Nivrittihi means removal, cessation of ajnanam, ignorance. Gata, regarding prameya, the thing to be known. And what is that? Tadaikya, in the form of oneness between the two. So what is the prayojanam? Ajnana nivrittihi, removal of ignorance regarding tadaikya, the oneness between Jivatma and Paramatma, which is prameya, which is the subject matter to be understood from Vedanta. So this is the first purpose, first benefit. Ajnana nivrittihi. And here we have to supply Ajnana tat karya nivrittihi. So it is not mere removal of ignorance. Because we have got ignorance about so many things. But along with ignorance, its effect, which is bothering us, which is a bondage for us, that tat karya. Tat karya means what? Adhyasa, then parichinnatva buddhi, kamadi, samsaraha. So ajnana tat karya samsara nivrittihi, dukkha nivrittihi, that is ajnana tat karya samsara dukkha nivrittihi. This is the prayojanam. This is the purpose. And this we have seen several times. When a person gets the knowledge of Atma being Brahma, then the ignorance of this fact goes away. That is called prameyagata ajnana nivritti. And when ignorance of this fact of myself being limitless Brahma goes away, then my sense of limitation goes away. My tadatmya with the body, mind, sense complex goes away, my sense of limitation goes away, then kama goes away, karma goes away, sharira sambandha goes away, sukhitva, dukhitva, rupa, samsara goes away. This we have seen in this Taittiriya Sangati Bhashyam also it comes. Alright. So, tadaikya prameyagata ajnana nivrittihi. This is the first purpose. And another one is Swaswarupa Nanda Vaptihi Cha. Avaptihi means attainment of Swarupa Nanda, Swaswarupa Nanda. Attainment of Ananda, fullness, which is one's own nature. Swaswarupa means one's own nature. Attainment of Ananda, fullness, which is one's own nature. Alright. So how there can be attainment of one's own nature? One's own nature is already attained. Nobody can be away from one's nature. Fire can never be away from heat. So, Swarupi cannot be away from Swarupa. Swarupa masti yasya saha, we can say Swarupi. Swarupi Agnihi Swarupat Aushnyat Kadapi Bhinnaha na sambhavati. Not possible. So, how can there be attainment of something which is available as the nature? Because it is Nitya Praptaha. So, Nitya Praptasya Praptihi Kadam Bhavet. For that we answer this, that generally you are right. Apraptasya eva praptihi bhavati. There is attainment of non-attained only. Like Gatapata or some Tirtha Sthanam or particular age, particular quality, particular status. All of them are unattained and they are attained through some effort. So, apraptasya praptihi karmana bhavati. That is a common phenomenon, is a common situation. But sometimes, very rarely, but sometimes it happens that there is praptasya praptihi. So, something is already obtained, but I do not know this fact. And how it is obtained, whether it is obtained, that also is not known, and how it is obtained is not known. So there is ignorance of the fact of something is already being there. And in such situation, there is a feeling of non-attainment. Even though it is already attained, a key is there with you, or Pujya Swamiji's example, glasses are there with you. So, even though it is praptaha, kintu aprapti bhrantihi syat. That is possible. In fact, I think I must have told you that when we were, the young boys, we used to make fun of some younger ones. And one day I remember one girl or boy was holding a baby. And we told, see, I am taking away your nose. I put my hand on that, I am taking away your nose. Baby started crying. It really believed that my nose is gone. So, even though it was prapta, but because of Bhranti, there was idea is aprapta. And therefore what? Crying happens. So everybody is missing this fullness. Even though fullness is the nature of a person, but fullness is missed by all ignorant people, and therefore majority. Therefore they say also, Swamiji, I got so many things, but there is no fulfillment in life. That is the story. Middle age crisis they call it. That after a certain age you get all these professional goals and still you feel something is missing. It's not really middle age crisis, it is all age crisis. So it is experienced that this fullness is missed. And it is missed because of ignorance. And when ignorance is the cause for missing something, then knowledge makes the person as though attain it. And that is the case here. Swaswarupa nandavaptihi. The attainment of the fullness which is one's own true nature. So one needs to have this strong sense of possibility that yes, my problem can be due to ignorance. That much also takes time. People think that my problem is because of this person, that person, not having money, my health issue, social issues, people don't listen to me. And that is how my problems are. So it takes lot of time for a person to see that my problem is not really because of this person listens to me or doesn't listen to me. Because earlier when he was listening to me, that time also I was incomplete only. Because some other people were not listening. Or even though people were listening to me, but I was missing some particular goal. Therefore I was incomplete. The reason for my feeling incomplete seems to be changing. But incompleteness was there. Before graduate or after graduation, the situation is the same. And therefore, my fullness, my purnatvam is not possible from any situation outside. One has to see very, very intimately that at the level of upadhi, I can never be perfect. If one doesn't see, then what happens at upadhi level when some criticism is there, we feel very hurt. Then in fact when somebody criticizes, that is a time to see that at this level, at anatma level, at upadhi level, this purnatvam nasti. Na vittena amrutasya nashasti. So by wealth, immortality cannot be there. Similarly, at the level of anatma, there is no perfection. Even in the Shastra level, there is no perfection. There is never going to be a time when you know all the Shastras and without having any doubt in any sentence. That is never going to happen. I have never met somebody who is perfect. Just one or two meetings, yes, he may answer so many questions, so we may think he knows everything. There will be always something. Yeah. Overall Tatparyam, one has got complete clarity. That is possible. But some sentences, always, fumbling, they will be there. And because he or she is a very well-known teacher and therefore he just glosses over, nobody will think that he doesn't know, therefore he is glossed over. That's what happens. But there will be always something. Because I have met some so-called so many great teachers. And I see that, that I thought I only have this issue, but they will also say, that's really there. They also will say that. And they are honest to tell this. Sometimes they may not be able to tell, but this is how it is. So even at this Shastra detail level, at the level of the details of Shastra, there is no completion possible. Because, once one Swamiji was telling me nicely, he said many times there is a simple reason why you are not able to get the clear connection and clarity about the sentence, because there may be printing mistake. Such a simple thing. It is in this Devaha, Bhadram Karne Bishnuniyama Devaha. So there, it is there, Dehanu Guna Yuktaha or something. There I think a printing mistake is there. So, and we keep on struggling. So printing mistake is there, Patha Bheda is there. So there can be. And the Acharya might have written something and somebody might have added something while copying this Bhashyam. And there may be some limitation possible. And therefore, perfection at the level of Anatma is not possible. That one needs to be very, very clear. Otherwise, what will happen? That along with this vision also, imperfection in Anatma level will bother. Whereas the freedom is what? I accept the limitation of Anatma and own up the limitlessness of Atma. That is my freedom. But what will happen? Even while trying to own up the limitlessness of Atma, the obsession with the perfection of Anatma will be so much that it will not allow you to own up the limitlessness of Atma, fullness of Atma. This is an incidental point, but for this Vedanta student it is very useful. That one needs to see very clearly at Anatma level, perfection is not possible. At Anatma level, fullness not possible. Freedom is not possible. At Anatma level, you don't have freedom. You always feel, oh, this I have to do, this I have to do, I am in a setup. You always be in a setup. So, in whatever setup you are, even if you are a sannyasi, in a way you are in the setup of society. Therefore, you have to go for bhiksha when people have cooked. Early morning, 6 o'clock you go, you may not get bhiksha. So, there also some you have to follow. You have to walk in a particular way. You cannot just walk on the road when so many vehicles are going. You cannot do that. So, at Anatma level, freedom is not possible. Perfection is not possible. It is only at the level of Atma. Which is Swamiji, when he was not well and he was in the hospital, he sent the message or something. He was talking to our Swami Sachidanandji, and he told this, that the freedom is only at the level of Swarupa. It is said in Shastra very well, but when he was unwell, that statement has so much what is called potency. And therefore, this Purnata is my nature, and it is owned up by the removal of ignorance, which is by knowledge. And that is the prayojanam of this Vedanta. So, Vedantasya prayojanam swaswarupananda vaptihi cha. Alright. Then he quotes the Shruti. Tarati shokam atmavit ityadi shrutehe. This is in support of Tadaikya Prameya Gata Ajnana Nivrittihi. And here Ajnana is representative of Ajnana Gata Samsara. Considering that, the Shruti Vakya is given, Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Atmavit, Atmanam Vetteti Atmavit, the knower of the self, Shokam Tarati, crosses over sorrow. From this Shruti we understand that by the knowledge of the self, Ajnanam and Ajnana born, Shoka goes away. Alright. And Brahmavid or Brahmaveda, Yaha Brahmaveda, or the knower of Brahman, Brahmaiva Bhavati, becomes Brahman, becomes within quote. And Brahma means fullness, limitless. So Swaswarupananda Vaptihi is substantiated by Brahma Veda Brahmaiva Bhavati Ityadi Shrutehe Cha. So Swaswarupananda Vaptihi can be connected with Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati or Brahmavid Apnoti Param. Alright. And here also, as I said, one needs to see the possibility, sense of possibility. Is it possible that just by knowledge my problem can be solved and I can own up limitlessness? Is it possible? Because as we have seen in Adhyasa Bhashyam, our cognitive growth happens in stages. Initially what we'll have Dhrada Viparyaya, then becomes Viparyaya, then become this Dhrada Asambhavana Buddhi, then Asambhavana Buddhi, then Samshaya, then Vinigamana, then Gnanam, then Nishchaya. So if we are at the level of the Asambhavana Buddhi itself, from there you cannot jump to this Dhrada Nishchaya. So I have to first work on that. Is it really possible? From Asambhavana Buddhi I have to come to Sambhavana Buddhi. Is it possible that by Jnanam itself I can be free? That's why Pujya Swamiji very nicely used to say, he said, if this Vedanta course helps you to get Purushartha Nishchaya, it has paid off. Initial study of Vedanta is used for that only. Even if that purpose is served, your studying Vedanta for 2 years, 3 years, has paid off. So initially, this Vedanta study is used in that. Unknowingly, you think that you are studying Jnanam, getting moksha, etc. But really speaking, for most of the people, it works, if it works. But for some people it doesn't work for that also. But if it works, then for most of the people it works as the means for getting Dhrada Purushartha Nishchaya. He must have some idea of Purushartha, therefore he has come to study Vedanta. But it becomes very firm that yes, this Ajnanam is the problem and Jnanam is the solution. When that comes, then your real progress starts. That there is a story, they say that one very great musician, he wanted to play his best composition to the person who is really interested and who has real taste of this music. And therefore, what he did? Through the king, he made the announcement that all of you are invited to listen to this musician. And when they came, it was told that anybody who moves his head will be cut. So, while listening to music, if your head is moved, head will be cut. And now they cannot get up and go. So, and people were very tense, listening to music. We should not move. Because when we really enjoy it, we are, wow, it happens. And then, so all of them remained stiff. Only one person started. And at the end of that concert, that musician says, all other people should go away. I will play my music to this person. Because he forgot even that. My head will go. Then he said, now I will start. My real music will start now. So similarly, real music of Vedanta starts when this Dhrada Purushartha Nishchaya and other necessary qualifications have come sometime by studying Vedanta. Primarily, Karma Yoga, Upasanas are the means. But even the study of Vedanta with the Guru Seva, Ashram Seva, etc., that serves the purpose. And then Shastra starts working as a pramanam. Person really becomes pramata. Therefore, this sentence is there, no? Evam bhutaha pramata adhikari. By using the word pramata, what is suggested is that a qualified person alone really becomes pramata in front of Vedanta. And when this person becomes pramata, then only Vedanta becomes pramanam. And to convey that idea also, the word pramata is there. Alright. So, prayojanam tu tadaikya prameya gata gnana nivrittihi swaswarupananda vaptihi cha tarati shokam atmavit ityadi shrutehe brahma veda brahmeva bhavati ityadi shrutehe cha. Alright. So, with this, the description of adhikari, description of Anubandha Chatushtayam is completed. Adhikari, Prayojana, Vishaya, Adhikari, Vishaya, Sambandha and Prayojana. Anubandha Chatushtaya, which was introduced in the fifth Khanda, is completed. Now, in this chapter, the next topic is Gurupa Sadanam. The Adhikari Purusha approaching the Guru. That is in the next paragraph. Ayam Adhikari Janana Maranadi Samsara Nala Santaptaha Deepta Shiraha Jalarashim Iva Upahara Panihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham Gurum Upasritya Tam Anusarati Tadvignanartham Sagurumeva Bigachet Samit Panihi Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham Ityadi Shrutehe. So Gurupa Sadanam by a qualified person is described here with the help of Shruti Vakya. Ayam Adhikari. This Adhikari. Ukta Lakshana Lakshitaha. That is the meaning of Ayam. The one who is endowed with, characterized by the Lakshanas, the qualifications, the attributes which were described earlier. Mainly three things were described, if you remember. Adhigata Akhila Vedarthaha, then Nitanta Nirmala Swantaha, and Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna. So this Adhikari, who is Janana Maranadi Samsara Nala Santaptaha. Santaptaha, burning, scorched by Anala, fire of Samsara. So one who is afflicted, burning, scorched by the fire of Samsara, which is in the form of Janana Maranadi. This is a classical description of Samsara. Janana, birth, Marana, death, Adi means Vyadhi. So Janana Marana Vyadhi Rupa Samsara Nala Santaptaha means he is scorched with the fire of Samsara. Means a person is seeing the limitation of Samsara and he wants to come out of that. Here Tikakara says, Samsara Sakta Chittasya Gurupa Sarpanam Ayuktam. So one who is Samsara Sakta Chitta, so that person who wants to take care of the accomplishment of Samsara and he is worried about that only, then effective Gurupa Sarpanam will not happen. So Samsara Sakta Chittasya Asambhavam. And therefore samsara nala santaptaha. Person will have some conscious or unconscious pain. Sometimes he very clearly sees that to see all are like this and I am suffering. Sometimes unconscious pain. So Puja Swamiji had told that something must be there. He told me. I thought I didn't have, but he says something will be there. Something conscious or unconscious pain will be there. Sometimes we may be aware of it, sometimes we may not be aware of it. But then only that commitment to the pursuit of moksha, pursuit of knowledge will be intense. So janama maranadi samsara nala santaptaha. Or person has got this feeling that all this okay, this I got money, I got a relationship and all this okay, but still my inner what is called lacuna, inner void, it is not going away. And it bothers me when I am alone, when I am not with everybody, when I am facing myself, it bothers. So samsara nala santaptaha. There is, it shows mumukshutvam and it shows a vairagyam both. So intensity of both is highlighted. Samsara nala santaptaha. It doesn't mean a person is depressed. Depressed person is not fit for Vedanta. Clinically a person is depressed. Means he is taking this, he has to take depression and he remains in that only. If he is depressed and coming out, then okay. Slowly he is on the recovery road. But he has to, every day he has to, take so many tablets and he will be lied down all the time. Then in that situation, Vedanta will not work. That person can slowly come out because of some punyam and somebody guides him or her and gets conducive atmosphere and is getting this right direction, possible. But remaining in that situation only, remaining with that mental frame only, and Vedanta will not deliver goods completely. Some impact will be there because of which he will come out. But he or she needs to be a relatively normal person. Everybody will have problem. But if a person is having this abnormal psychology intensely, then it is not suit. Normal problem is there. So it should be a balance. He is feeling the heat of samsara. At the same time, he is not totally depressed that he cannot come out. In that situation, he cannot. So in between, that he is seeing the limitation of samsara, still his intellect is intact enough to understand the vision of Shastra. His intellect is not affected in thinking. And therefore, in between person is samsara nala santaptaha. Alright. And he gives the example that such a adhikari, qualified person, is going to the Guru like what? Deepta shiraha. Deepta shiras sabdaha. Deeptam shiraha yasya saha deepta shiraha. Deepta shiras. Prathama will be deepta shiraha, like Nachiketaha, Chandramaha. Deepta shiraha. A person whose head is deepta. Deepta literally means burning. Here burning means what? It is scorched with fire. Some heat. A person was outside and so much heat is there, and so his head is very hot. That is called Deepta Shiraha. Atapagni Dagdha Mastakaha. A person whose head is Dagdha. Dagdha means hot, scorched by the fire or by the heat of Atapa, sunlight. So that person Deepta Shiraha, how? Jalarashim. how intensely he desires to go to the Jalarashi, the body of water. Similarly, Ayam Adhikari Gurum Upasritya, having approached the teacher, Tam, to that teacher, Anusarati, he follows. Alright. And when he goes, what is his condition? He says, Upahara Pani. Jalarashim, Iva is the example. So, Iva means like. This Adhikari goes to the teacher like a person whose head is scorched with the heat of sunlight. He goes to the body of water. Similarly, this Adhikari goes to this Guru. And when he goes to the Guru, he is Upahara Panihi. Upaharaha Pano Yasya. He is called or Panayoho Yasya. Upahara Panihi. Panayoho. Panyoho. Upaharaha Panyoho or Panav Yasya. It can be in one hand also. Upahara Panihi. Having some gift in his hand. Why? Because there is a general convention. What? Rikta Panir na seveta Rajanam Devatam Gurum. Empty-handed, one should not go to Raja, the king, Devata, this God. Any temple we go, generally, if you are visiting once in a while, something, flowers, fruit, something should be taken. That's why outside the temple there are so many shops. Always you take something. Regularly we are going, we don't take, but otherwise we are supposed to take. So Rajanam, Devatam and Gurum. So when we meet the Guru first time, we have some gift in our hand. Rajanam, Devatam, Gurum. And there is, just by the way, incidentally, another reading is Rajanam, Brahmanam, Striyam also. When one goes to Raja or some Brahmana, scholarly Brahmana, or even his wife, when he goes out of station, then he should bring something to his wife. He cannot go empty-handed. That's a convention. I remember our father used to bring, when he used to go out, maybe 100 kilometers only. But we'll be waiting. Father has gone out, so he will bring something. Because he will be going only once in few months. So in general, that tradition is there. So following that tradition, Rajanam Devatam Gurum Rikta Panina Pashyeta, that is Upahara Pani. That is one thing. Another spiritual context is that this Adhikari is showing his readiness to serve the teacher. By taking the gift, he shows that I am ready to serve. Therefore, that upahara should be something which is useful to the teacher. If he is a sannyasi and still you take the stick, it is okay because you are following Samit Pani. That's okay. One Swamiji, when he was a brahmachari and he went to see Pujya Swamiji, he took a stick because he had heard in the book. But he took in one, some purse, big purse. In that he put it, the sticks, and we met Swamiji. So Swamiji was happy, Pujya Swamiji, that yes, he knows the tradition. So, for a sannyasi, it need not be so. Samit has got some particular significance. But anything which is useful. So, taking something useful to the teacher is a sign of my readiness to serve. And my readiness to serve is a sign of my value for Vidya. Because you will give something only for that thing which is valuable to you. Something is not valuable to you and somebody asks you, give me just 100 rupees for this. He will not buy. Some spare part somebody gives me, which that machine I don't use at all. And he said, just 100 rupees. Why should I buy 100 rupees also? So we buy something when something is valuable to us. We are ready to pay only when something is valuable to us. Yes, somebody may think, this is very cheap. I will sell it for 200, there's value. Then he will buy. So something valuable only we buy, or for something valuable alone we are ready to pay. So when I am showing my readiness to serve, to offer whatever I can, shows my value for knowledge. And therefore, upahara panihi. So we should not think, oh, poor Swami, he is staying very far off. Who will serve him? So we are going, let us help him. That should not be the attitude. That obliging attitude towards the teacher is not a very healthy thing. Because once the disciple starts thinking that he is obliging the teacher, then his attitude will be different even while studying. He said, repeat, he will say. Because I am serving you every day, I am bringing fruits, I am bringing bhiksha for you. Repeat, stop. Don't talk so fast. That type of attitude will be there. So, that upahara panihi is an expression of this readiness to serve with humility. Alright. So, upahara panihi, san gurum upasritya, having approached the guru, tam anusarati. Here, anusarati, Tikakara says, mano vak kaya karma bihi sevate. He serves the teacher. And he follows the instruction given by the teacher. Whatever is suggested as something useful to the sadhaka, he is ready to do it. Not that Guru has to really, please listen to me. Guru every now and then has to say, you please do this, it will be really good for you. Please listen to me. Why don't you listen to me? If Guru has to say like this, it's not a healthy relationship. Shishya needs to be eager to follow the suggestion, having the trust that it will be for my good. And sometimes it is not clear how it can be for my good. He or she can ask the teacher. But even after the explanation given by the teacher, I am not fully convinced. Still, being a Shishya, I try to follow. Unless it is against my health or values, etc. But otherwise I give benefit of doubt. And sometimes teacher may say, it will be clear later on. When Swamiji was telling that when he was in Dayananda Ashram in Rishikesh, there's a brahmachari, Swami Paramarthanandi nicely told that you focus on the by-hearting the forms. They will be very useful. They are very useful. You spend time on the sutras and all, but you by-heart all the forms. That's very useful. Then this Swamiji is telling that time we did not understand the significance of it. Later on we understood. That time it may look very this sutra should be by-hearted, no? Sutra should be by-hearted. All anuvritti, that should be only by-hearted. What is the use of by-hearting the forms? So, Swamiji, based on his own experience, he had understood this. And he said, later on we understood. At that time may not be clear. He will say, based on my experience I am telling, this is useful. And then later on he said, yeah, we understood that why it is useful. So, idea is that the Shishya is ready to follow, giving the benefit of doubt to the knowledge, to the wisdom, to the experience of this teacher. That he has gone through this and he knows. And therefore, tam anusarati. Here people will say, oh Swamiji, this is a very, what is called, the approach of what is called fanatic approach. And what is called, they call it this slavery, there is some name.
Gurudam.
Gurudam, and some word is there. So he said, we become, intellectually dumb. In fact, right Guru will not allow that type of dullness, or this intellect will be subdued and no, don't think, don't ask questions, and that type of approach will not be there. But in some situations, a person has to give benefit of doubt to the teacher, because certain things can be understood only by going through that. In fact, many times we see elders will say something and that time we will not accept it. But after our experience of few years, we understand, what he said was right. Certain instruction given in Shastra, we sometimes dismiss. I don't think this is a very old-fashioned thinking. But after certain years, we understand, what Shastra was telling is really true. I have seen that certain things we really appreciate. That time we were, we are not serious about it and all. But we understand the significance. Therefore, this type of instructions are given, tam anusarati. Here, idea is not to make the person, slave, mediocre. But in certain situations, following someone on unknown territory is very useful. And approach should be that any instruction I try to follow with understanding. That should be default setting. For any suggestion given by the teacher or Shastra, we'll definitely ask. We can definitely ask what for it is to be done. But even if I am not convinced it is the instruction, so let me try. At least give a try. And after giving sufficient try, if we are not explained, perhaps we can ask again. But in general, there is approach, then lot of time is saved. It is something like if we have a guide or a map, then our time is saved. Otherwise, finally we will reach. This path is not there, that path is not there, that path is not there. So finally we will find out. But how much effort will be wasted? And therefore, tam anusarati. In modern time, this type of instruction, looks very old-fashioned. Why should we follow? We are the leaders. We should have independent thinking. But I have seen that it really helps. If the teacher doesn't have problem, if teacher has a controlling mind and just to assert his or her control, he is just instructing and not allowing the question, is very unhealthy. It will create separation and conflicts. But if teacher and student both are relatively mature, then it is very useful. Tad vijnanartham sagurum eva abhigachet. For the Shruti Vakya is given, tad vijnanartham, for the purpose of knowing that Brahman, saha, that person's, that qualified person, gurum eva abhigachet, should go to the Guru alone. Samit panihi, having the samit, the firewood in his hand. And what type of Guru? Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. Shrotriyam means one who is well versed in scripture, especially in Vedanta. Here Tikakara first he gives Sarva Veda Shastresu, and then afterwards he said Vedanta Shastresu. So one who is well versed in Vedanta, and not only he knows the teaching, he knows the method of communication. And how did he learn the method of communication? By exposing himself to the traditional teacher. So Shrotriya is the one who has learned from a traditional teacher and has understood the method of communication as well. That is Shrotriyam. And Brahmanishtham, abiding in Brahman. So Atma is Brahman is a matter of fact for the person. That is called Brahmanishta. So Brahmanishta means what? Brahma Jnana Nishtha. I am Brahman. This knowledge is a fact for me. And abiding in that, that is Brahmanishtam. To such Guru one should go Ityadi Shrutehe. Because of the Shruti also, this idea of Guru Pasadanam is substantiated. Now, in the next sentence, what does Guru do when Shishya goes and does what a Shishya is supposed to do? Tadviddhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. He does his job of namaskara, seva, pariprashna. Then what the teacher will do, that is said in the next sentence, we'll see in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.